lovely, beautiful golden ginkgo, all the lovely leaves. I think the golden color of the autumn leaves of ginkgo is probably the most spectacular sight in the autumn. Look at their forest floor covered in these leaves. And yet we are going to do something different today. I'm going to do a cedar forest with these blue trees. And that is quite a contrast to the other trees that we have. So we are going to take a few of these and convert these into a forest. So I'm looking for trees which are fairly straight, and then we will use those. Some of them have got nice bends in them, so I don't want to waste those. So the ones that are straight will be the ones used. So the ones which are not all that good probably will be used. By the way, these blue cedars are quite expensive trees, so I don't want to waste any of them. So I've got to be a bit careful in what I choose and what I use. Three, four. I think 5 is enough. I want to keep the ones which have branches for making individual trees.
Okay.
So one big one and 4 smaller ones. I think I got enough now. I think I got enough. So we're going to take these 5 trees into the back greenhouse and we're going to do bonsai forest with it. Okay? So these are the trees we've chosen to make the forest, and I'm now going to narrow it down to possibly 5 trees. The way we chose them was that we chose trees that are generally straight. You notice too that many of these trees have had these bamboo sticks stuck in there, and these bamboo sticks are there for a purpose. If they're left to their own devices, these cedars, they tend to grow tall and straight, and because they are thin, they don't always grow tall and straight without any aid. So the bamboo sticks help to keep them straight. If they were left to their own devices, they can go a bit crooked. So we keep the sticks in here for as long as possible so that they will continue to be upright. But now that we've more or less decided we want to use them for a forest, we will take the sticks out and then make the final choice. So I've got to think of the pot as well. Before we do anything, we've got to think what we're going to put it in. So I've got choice of several pots. So many of you will know that when we make the forest, we don't always put them straight into bonsai pots. You can plant them in trays like this, and once the roots mesh together, we can take it out and then put them in the proper pot. We've got a selection of pots here. This is a shallow oval, but because the tree is still in training, I don't want to put them in too shallow a pot to begin with. It's always better to err on the side of caution. That means plant them deeper to begin with, and then when the roots are established, we will then transfer them into shallow pots. But before we do anything, let's see how we go about the process. So the first process is to choose the trees. So that I need a big thick one as the central tree. Although this one has got this weird branch here, I'm not too worried because it can help to thicken the trunk there. I can always get rid of it. Or when I arrange it, it can be at the back so you don't see it. So that is the straight tree. This is going to be our central tree. And then we will choose some subsidiary ones, shorter trees. The there's going to be a lot of mess because all this massive root ball is going to be teased off. And we're going to reduce the root ball as much as possible. So I can see that we can quite easily get 5 trees. Smallest one at the extremities. I think 5 would be enough. So that roughly is how the trees are going to sit, and we'll proceed to shape them. So the first thing I will do, I know that there are lots of low branches. It's a shame to see there's a selection of thin and thick branches. I'm going to take the thicker branches out because they're not wireable. And each tree is going to be shaped in a tall A shape. Okay, so that roughly is the configuration. So my next step is to remove as much of the soil as possible, because that will determine how small a pot I can get it in. Because we potted these trees on to grow them bigger, I guess a lot of the soil is still loose, so I can probably reduce the root ball quite a bit. So I won't show you that process. That's going to be just teasing the soil off, and I'll show you that. See what we've done. The soil we found is very friable. Friable meaning it is very nice and open, and the roots on these trees are very fine. You can see I haven't bare rooted it completely, almost verging on that. And because it's in the middle of November, it's almost the autumn, we can do that. Let me try some of these pots that I have with me. Because the roots are so shallow, I can get away with this pot. So it so happens that this pot would be ideal, absolutely ideal. Can you see? So I will use this. So we'll prepare the pot, put mesh on it, and we will tie the trees in. So let's show you the next step. So we won't show the detail, but we can. So we've decided to use this mica pot, which is about 2 and a bit inches deep. Lovely oval pot, but because the roots are not that deep, they're fairly shallow, they will fit very nicely in here. You can see what we've done with the mesh. A lazy man's way of doing it. I know a lot of people are going to laugh and criticize me, but I like doing things my way, and most of you will do things your way. So instead of putting individual pieces of mesh on each of the holes, I've taken the liberty of using 2 large pieces to hold the soil in. And now let's put the trees in position. And this is where you need more than 2 hands to hold it. Keep an eye on the camera. Yeah. Don't worry about the trees. And then we will place them roughly in position. While we're doing that, we will also position the trees by placing some soil in to hold it. And that's how we're going to go about the business. I'm also going to use some of the old soil, but we're going to mix some akadama and grit with it. So, as I say, I don't have 4 hands, but let me just show you what I mean. I'm going to use some of this precious akadama mixed with the original soil. The original soil is a very nice organic soil, so there's no need to waste that. And then we have some of this Japanese volcanic grit as well. So we're using two types of soil to mix with the original soil. Fairly open mix. So the soil being put in is just to hold the trees in place. I'm trying not to cut root as far as possible, because I know that if I cut it, it's going to stress the tree. I think we can get 7 trees in here. So bear with me, I'm going to tease the roots on another 2 trees and put those in as well. Okay, we can stop for a while. So this is the difficult part, arranging the trees. And that thick back branch there, I thought at first I could use it, but the more I look at it, the more I realize it's not really going to help. So, if that is the case, off it comes. So I'm going to chop it off. See, sometimes you take all the trouble to grow it and then you cut it off. So like these low ones, I think we'll have to get rid of those. See how much neater and cleaner it looks now by doing that. So suddenly it's transformed the look of that tree. I like the way it slopes outwards, that's nice. Now we're looking at it from the front. Always be prepared to play around with it so that it looks right when you've decided that is the final position. Really, making a forest is one of the easiest things to do. So the way the trees sit in the pot, whether it's upright or sloping or slanting, all have a bearing on the final appearance of the tree. This side I like, this side is quite nice. I'm not so sure about this yet. Sorry about the dust. See, there's so much space that we can easily get 2 more trees in, but I don't want to cram it too much, because if you cram it too much, you can't see the individual trunks. So sometimes it is as well to have a fairly open composition. See, just making it slope outside or slant outside makes a difference, and that I will be able to do by putting soil in I'm only going to tie a few of the trees in because I have something else in mind. When I'm happy with the position, I'm going to show you what else I'm going to do. But for the time being, I'm now just going to fill it with soil, so I don't need to show you that. So that's the arrangement we've settled for. And to firm the soil in, you can either just use your fingers to prod it in. Some people use chopstick, but for such a large pot, the chopstick would take ages. So as long as the soil is firm, that should be okay. And then the height, I can always cut them to get the correct height, so I'm not too worried. And during the year, it's going to grow. The important thing to show is that I'm not looking for the finished product straight away. It's going to grow a lot during the year, so the heights can be adjusted later on. Remember, it's really the principle every time that I'm showing you. So we settle for that. The soil is fairly firm. What I wanted to show you as a new thing, which in fact Josh reminded me of, is to tie the trees together with the bamboo sticks. So we're going to tie them in so that the trees remain fairly stable in those positions, rather than to tie them all with wire. So it's just a frame that we are making to hold the trees together. Even at the top we will do that. So if I want to space it out like that, by forcing it out that way, I can get the trees to remain in that position. So we can tie those two in. So this is something that I've not shown before, and you might find this a useful little tip to pick up. The trade secrets I'm giving are invaluable, but I don't mind giving these secrets away. And as you know, my trademark is there is no right and a wrong way. Everyone has a different way. If you have some valuable ideas, you can pass them on to your friends or pass them on to me. So this is something that I used to do quite a lot. Position the trees with the use of bamboo sticks like that. So the spacing can be done very accurately like this. To spread out more, and we'll spread out a little more. In fact, this is how people grow a lot of their chrysanthemums. In China, they use chrysanthemums for bonsai, and the shapes and the way the thin branches are trained are all done by bamboo sticks. And of course, the beauty is that you won't mark the trunks. So you get the idea, you can adjust it accordingly. You want to splay out more, you splay it out more like so. Let's show you what I mean. So that one is leaning out that way, this is leaning out this way. And the position is maintained by these bamboo sticks. So while the tree is being trained, we will use those sticks. Thick branches I prefer to get rid of. And then we can do some wiring as well. I haven't taken the time to wire, but they should be wired. So all these little branches need wiring. Let me just show you on one or two of them what I mean. If you want it to be meticulous, every single branch should be wired down. But while the tree is in training, I have all the time in the world to do it as the trees continue to grow. So this is what I want to do, making them hang downwards rather than let them spring upwards. So all these little branches are going to be wired downwards. Where there are thick ones, they should also be wired down or got rid of. See, that's a thick one, I can really do that. So that thick branch is going down, so all these will be wired down like so. If they are too thick and I've got lots of thin branches, let's get rid of the thick ones. And then we can take the leader up where we want to. We don't want that growing too tall. Maybe cut that off there.
Yeah, nice. Topping that one, Peter's changed it a lot.
So you always put a leader on each of these. These all have to be wired. Like this one also. So we get the general drift of ideas. And should I want to stabilize some of the other ones, I can use some more bamboo sticks to go across like that. So you get the general drift of idea. So that will maintain the positions. So I hope this gives you some new ideas to play with, how to make a forest. So this will stay like this till the middle of summer, and we'll show you the trees again. And in the meantime, I will get on to wiring all these branches down. And there you go. In just about half an hour, we've produced a very credible forest planting of blue cedar, which is extremely rare. Blue Atlantic cedar. So there you go. So I'm just finishing this off. I've got Josh to wire some of the branches down, and we have wired these up, the apex up. So we can still play around with the heights. That one I will just take a little bit off there. And again I will just finish off tying these wires to make the trees more stable. The use of bamboo sticks is quite common. I remember when I went to China once, and I came across a nursery there, and they were training their Chinese elms. The S shape is not done with wire. They wrap the trees round the bamboo sticks, and that's how they get the curly S shape. You try it yourself. Not difficult.
It's huge.
I know that some of these need to be wired down like this. I'm not going to spend all the time doing it. Again, it's to show you the general principle. So again, in a very short space of time, we were able to create this very presentable group. So we will take our time to wire all these branches down, but you get the general drift of idea. And the composition, I think, is quite pleasing. I could reduce that a little more, but I'll just let it go. I can always adjust it as it grows. So that is the final shot, and we've had a very fruitful day today. Thank you.